Life experiences have value even if they are painful experiences. SOF 6-4. He came upon Beth Shemesh close to nightfall, when it was not good to enter the city, and therefore, as darkness closed about him, he prepared to lay himself down beneath the wall of a vineyard. This was owned by a wealthy widow who, seeing the young man preparing for the night, sent men out to bring him into her guest house. The widow was neither old nor unbeautiful, and when she saw the comeliness of the young man, her heart was gladdened, and she bade him welcome. Hiram did not depart with the light of the morning, and it came to pass that the widow offered him a high place on her estates. Hiram accepted, for he was young and pleased with the honor, but in the course of time the widow had become enamored with him and sought to make him her husband. Hiram sought a way of release from this, for he had already heard tales of the woman's many lovers. A bit of positive and good fortune, yet Hiram understood that as much good there was a worm in that apple. He understood that material trappings are great, but cannot compensate if your soul is starving. But how will it play out? SOF 6-5. The widow said to Hiram, "Be my husband, for the one I had has died and left no heir. Let us enjoy the fruits of your manhood, for I desire the seed of your body, so that I may have a splendid son. I will give you robes of blue and red, and they will be laced with chains of gold. You shall ride in a high chariot wheeled with brass and pulled with copper. Many servants will attend you, and wise men brought from east and west will fill your heart with wisdom. You shall lack nothing that satisfies your desires." The woman had much material value, and whether she intended to or not, understood her looks alone was not enough to overcome Hiram's concerns. Instead, she tried to purchase his love with the material pleasures she had to offer, thinking a youth would grab for the comfort and ignore the emptiness of her character. SOF 6-6. Hiram was not at ease with himself, for he was young and lacked the wisdom to deal with the situation. He answered the widow hastily in these words, "You are a woman of beauty, and this alone makes you a desirable treasure to men. But how would it fare with me in marriage? It is said that you have had many lovers, and they find you as a smoldering fire in a cold room, a door restraining neither wind nor sand, a roof that falls in upon the sleeper beneath it, a boat that drowns the boatman, the crust over a quicksand, water that does not slack the thirst, and food that sits heavily on the stomach. Which man did you ever love with constancy, so that he walked in the joy of contentment? Which man could ever call you his?" You learn from experience, but sadly you still hurt others to gain that wisdom. Even if you had no malice because of ignorance, you do your best, and you will have regrets, but always understand, if you learned from it, that it wasn't in vain. Each experience is new, unique, so one can say, "I've learned from past experiences," and yet end up being hurt or finding yourself damaged in some way. The trappings might look different, but your actions are not, and they are the only thing that can change the outcome. Blaming others for hurting you offers you comfort. It does not offer you wisdom. SOF 6-7. The words from his mouth stung the widow like hornets, and she flew into a rage after the manner of women. She called upon her servants, and they beat Hiram with sticks and drove him off her estate. With a little more wisdom in his heart, he continued on his way into Egypt, and after many days he arrived at the city of On. While the words might be honest, sometimes it's not what you say, but how you say it. Words may not inflict physical damage, but it can hurt, and your lack of tact could be more intense and painful than it needed to be. If you learn from your mistakes and not wallow in thoughts of vengeance or obsess over what was done to you, instead of feeling remorse of what you unintentionally did to someone else, then it is an experience that was valuable.